I'm Bill Barrett. I'm a musician from Los Angeles. I'm actually from New York, but I live in Los Angeles. And I play chromatic and diatonic harmonicas and the harmonica, the ancient, beautiful beast that HOHNER stopped making. and I'm a singer, a father of three. Trouble with the local police. They know me. They all know me well, of course. Well, I started playing diatonic harmonica first, and I still play diatonic harmonica, and I think that's been a bigger influence on my chromatic playing than chromatic players have been. And when I first started playing chromatic, the only person you could really hear was really Toots and Stevie Wonder, you know. And there was no internet, and there was nobody where I was at in Florida in the early 70s who really played harmonica well at all. So it was a complete, you know, you had to learn by yourself. There was no option to study with other people. So I've taken, you know, lessons from all kinds of other instrumentalists, you know, over the years, and I did take harmonica lessons from Eddie Manson in the early 80s. And when I first moved to California in 1984, I knew he lived there, and I wanted to meet him. And I met somebody that Mark Wheeler that knew him, and he said, "Oh, we can call, I'll give you his phone number." So you know, I called him up and I rambled for about 20 minutes about how much I loved his music, and he didn't give him a chance to say anything. And he paused and he said, "Are you looking for instruction, Mr. Barrett?" And at the time I was homeless, and I had no money, no driver's license. I didn't get my driver's license till I was 30, you know. So I had to, I said, "Yes, I do." It was a really eye-opening, ear-opening experience. I was teaching harmonica at AB Music in Huntington Beach, but it wasn't enough money in California for rent to, you know, to live anywhere. And I played, I street performed in Venice and in Redondo Beach and Laguna Beach, you know. And for a while there, I had my girlfriend, Katie Soljack at the time, who's a big songstress in New Zealand, you know, I bought a Delta 88, like a big, you know, killer car, and we both slept in it. So, well, I just started making more money playing music, but I also married somebody with a better job, frankly. You know, and it's impossible to make a good living playing music in LA. I do a lot of session work. I play every night of the week. I teach lessons. And now, you know, after I've been playing there for 30 years, I do make good money. But, you know, I wouldn't have health insurance or anything else. I was fortunate enough to, you know, start playing with people that had better business sense than me, who got good gigs. You know, I play in 6 bands and in LA right now. I mean, I play with Ryan, you know, Barrett and Donahue, with the Bastards of Belleville, which is a gypsy jazz and early jazz group, and the Claremont Voodoo Society, the Mentones, and so between all these groups, there's always a gig. I tour 6 months a year. I do a lot of recording work, and so some weeks are better than others. Yeah, yeah. I think the why Hazmat is such an incredible in band, and why it was so interesting, you know. Why the music seems so strange is what Wade's managed to do is pick people that are incredible on their individual instruments, like Joseph Daly, you know, who's like a hero of mine, you know, and people that have such individuality to begin with, that, you know, it just kind of shines through. And I think if you put 6 people on stage that are all great musicians and allow them to, you know, do with little direction, really allow them to do what they want to do, it's going to come out messy, which is good. It's going to come out dangerous. You know, no one goes to an air show to actually watch the planes do pretty things. They go because they want to maybe see a plane go down in flames. And if you feel that somebody's really going for it, you know, then it's exciting. And when you have 6 people that are like that, so I think that was the, you know, the secret to the group's. I mean, I've been playing harmonica since I was a little boy, so, and like I said, most of it was before I'd met any other harmonica players. I didn't start playing chromatic till 1979, and at that point, I didn't know any chromatic players. In fact, the first chromatic I bought used, which sounds kind of gross, and the slide was upside down. I could not figure out what was going on. I kept pressing the button in and the pitch would go down, you know, and I finally figured it out, you know. Just needed a few extra IQ points, but there were no books. There was Blackie Schachtner's book, or, you know, a couple of books like that. You know, J.J. Milteau in Paris has this compilation called Inspirations 22, and on it he had a fantastic chromatic harmonica player, Hugo Diaz from Argentina, and I'd never heard him. So, you know, 10 years ago when I got that, I was, you know, was fanatical about him for a year. And every person you get, George Armeos, this Greek harmonica player that plays, you know, Turkish influenced music on the chromatic, you go nuts for somebody for a little while, and they all leave a little imprint on you. Well, I'm more influenced by accordion players and horn players and guitar players than I am harmonica players. So that's probably part of why I'm idiosyncratic or out of the idiom rather. I also, you know, just philosophically in terms of my approach to tone, I've heard that Toots Thielemans has described himself as trying to find a sound between a smile and a tear, and I've always tried to find the sound between a shot and a beer. Well, I played a lot of outside jazz and avant-garde music with, it seems like all these people that are playing this music, you can't make any money from this music generally, are all these usually just master musicians. So a lot of what they do is they play extended techniques. You know, on their, like if they're a saxophone player, they know all the sort of false fingerings and altissimo things, and if they're trombone players, they have all the multiphonics they play. And so you have to come up with some extended techniques for the instrument too. That was like a pretty obvious thing to do, but there's all kinds of other, you know, insane sounds, you know, from like side retortion. There's a piece of music that was written for me by a good friend of mine, Sean Naidoo, who passed away last year. But he actually, the first thing he did was he said, play strange sounds. I did that, I did a bunch of other things. And he goes, okay, now play these things within this key range. And he recorded me doing for about an hour, doing all kinds of odd things. And then he placed it in the lattice work of a complicated composition. And the composition has 4 movements, but it's actually played by a computer, and it reacts to you in real time. That's got everything in it. It's got every strange sound I play. And it's got four of me playing it at the same time, just to be even more annoying. You know, when I played the 270, you'd sit there in a bar bathroom with bad lighting, you know, in between sets, like trying to get those screws out of wood, and then one of them would like fall in the sink or something, you know. This is just, you know, it takes 2 seconds to disassemble. And so like he's saying, it's easy to clean, easy to work on. And I think the advantages of it sonically are that it has a wider dynamic range. It plays, I think you can get louder with this instrument and still play as softly as you want to. You can bend notes more easily, and it lends itself to a lot of the extended techniques we were talking about, not just with the lever, but with certain kinds of bending and things that you can't do as easily with other instruments. But that, it looks bitchin'. Come on. It looks scary. It's like somewhere between a cell phone and a weapon, you know. Which in the wrong hand, right hands, it is a weapon, I suppose. Yeah. The things that I'm more interested in that regard are you know, technique-driven ideas. It seems that harmonica players generally move in thirds. They move to adjacent holes, and they don't play anything with any kind of wide skips. And one of the really wonderful things about the harmonica, diatonic harmonica as well, is that you can get more than one note at the same time. So there's all kinds of, you know, playing out of either side of your mouth and those sort of things. That's what interests me more in that regard. Effects, strange ideas. To be honest with you, I'm not going to do them on here because that's my last harmonica. It's the only one I have in tune. I have 4 more weeks of tour to do.